Heavy rain battered parts of Bengaluru again on Monday evening, causing flooding and several kilometre-long traffic jams. The Bangalore Water Supply and Sewerage Board has warned of water supply disruption in several areas of the city for 24 hours. The board arranged temporary tankers free of cost, and these will be supplied to areas where water supply through taps was suspended. Bengaluru was under water yesterday for the second time in a week.
For the second time in a week in the Silicon City of India, large parts of Bengaluru are underwater. A man nearly drowned in the flooded street near Marathahalli Silk Board Junction Road. In the nick of time, he was rescued by security guards. Lakes have breached, sewage from stormwater drains have overflowed, entering homes, and infrastructure has crumbled. In place after place, as roads turned into rivers, boats and tractors replaced cars. Heavy rains caused havoc in the slums in the southeast part of Bengaluru near Munekolalu and Bellandur. Over 1,500 families have been affected by the torrential rains, rendering them homeless. But even upmarket areas were badly affected. Over 25 places reported flooding.
What you see on to my right is this is the entry point to especially the layout, which at least has over 400 houses, residents. What you see here is especially people, taking loaves of breads and also food packets, milk packets, so that they can give it to especially the residents who are stuck inside their homes.
No, it's actually the second time. A couple of days before we had the same.
No, this started happening this year only, and we had got the situation like 5 days ago. And everybody worked together.
Huge rains which is happening, so we didn't expect that such huge rain.
Water gushed inside the Wipro office after the Halanayakkanahalli lake breached in Sarjapur, entirely flooding the campus. Techies have taken leave from work and are out on the flooded streets helping their neighbourhoods. Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai, who visited the same areas that we have reported from in Whitefield and Sarjapur Road, has once again made an empty promise. The Outer Ring Road Company Association has written to the Chief Minister that the companies have suffered a loss of 225 crores in just one day. According to the Met Department, Karnataka's capital Bengaluru recorded 131.6 mm of rain in the past 24 hours, making Monday, the 5th of September, the wettest September day since 2014.
What you see right behind me is especially they're using a coracle to get to each person's house and also be able to give them or distribute food packets to them. Now that is the situation especially in the city of Bengaluru. With camera person Govind, Srija for NDTV.
All right, let's go across to Srija now. And Srija, what is it like this morning? Yesterday evening again, Bengaluru saw rainfall, but what's the situation this morning?
Well, the place where I'm standing here is the Sarjapur Road. What I can show you right now is, it's a knee-deep water. So as you venture inside, deep inside, we see it's almost, it's about 5 feet is what we are being told. So coracle is being used especially for people who want to exit and enter this particular stretch of road. There are over 400 residents. And what's more important here is this particular place, especially the Rainbow Drive layout, has been completely inundated for over 24 hours now. Even yesterday also we went on to see how this particular area especially received the highest rainfall, even late last night as well. And because of this kind of a condition that we are witnessing, power has been cut off. Electricity has been off, water supply has been disrupted, and we understand it's the neighborhood who's coming forward, volunteers, because we are showing you visuals. You do not see any officials right now. We only see that people who are on ground volunteers who have reached this location. They're trying to, in fact, divert the traffic. They're asking people to go use the other lanes so that they can ensure that this particular lane, especially this particular stretch of road that connects the IT corridor and also the main part of the city, Bengaluru, it does not get, choked. But that's what you're witnessing right now. They have created a 2-lane in this particular single lane. They've asked especially the vehicles, the drivers, to ensure that they go just very close by to the divider so that, what we understand from the people, they say there are manholes, there are stormwater drains that have been completely opened. So it is definitely, danger that's lurking right over here. You don't really know where exactly the manhole is open. Now that is the kind of situation. So there are volunteers who have been posted at different vantage points, basically to tell people to not really take this particular part of the road. Now to come back to the Rainbow Drive here, so you have several people, in fact, who are still stuck inside their homes, while a few of them have already been rescued, and they have moved out of this particular layout to their friends or family members' homes. And they also tell us that the residents of this very area, that this is not the very first time that they are seeing or witnessing flooding. Just in less than a week, this is the second time that they have reported flooding. Chief Minister Basuraj Bommai himself has visited this very location. He has also said that the issue will be addressed immediately. But clearly you see the city is once again underwater. So, despite the promises just in less than a week, there's clearly no respite for residents of Bengaluru. So it is completely cut off. People are still stuck inside their homes. So you have, certain number of volunteers from the nearby neighborhoods coming over here, distributing food packets, milk packets. Now that's what's been given especially to these residents inside, and also the district administration, because of the copious rains that the city has received. Schools and colleges have been declared a holiday.
Right, and Shrija, also the rain forecast is there till the 9th is what the Met Office had said. Also, the rain, as you're standing in this flooded water, there's nowhere for the water to really go. Many of the lakes in Bengaluru are also, experiencing flooding right now.
Well, of course, because there are, a couple of things to be looked at. Firstly, we understand the kind of intensity of the rains, especially the city of Bengaluru has received. Now that this time, September has been the wettest month, as told by the IMD, and also the city has received maximum amount of rainfall as compared to last year. More importantly, this has been the situation across the city, and also we understand one of the reasons, especially to show you here, is the reason why there is no way for the water to get out is because of the very bad drainage system, of course. That is what we've been told by the residents and the resident association. And the other thing to be looked at, yes, the lakes. There are 3 lakes in this particular area, that is Sarjapur area of Bengaluru city. And we also understand that the lakes have breached. There was a retainer wall. Now the retainer wall collapsed, and so the water has breached and entered this particular area. And this entire stretch of road has been completely inundated. You do not see road. You do not see a tarred road at all. You see it's completely converted into a river here, this part of this Sarjapur side of the road. So we see the lake has been breached. Even though the lake has been breached, the other thing to be looked at, the stormwater drains. That is another issue here in the city, though the civic body, that is the BBMP, should take up, in terms of desilting the stormwater drain on a regular basis, because you have enough amount of money that's been pumped, especially for the desilting of stormwater drains, over 800 crore rupees. So definitely that needs to be questioned to the government, because this is the taxpayers' money. Where exactly is the 800 crores going? Definitely down the drain, because otherwise you do not see the city time and again flooding and going underwater, and you have people packing every time there is a spell of rain, packing their bags, and especially, leaving from this location to the other location. So this has been the situation at, in fact, different areas across the city, and Importantly, even though the stormwater drains, since the lake has breached and entered stormwater drains, and since the desilting has not happened, you have the stormwater drains overflowing. Now, this water that we are seeing is, of course, the lake water mixed with rainwater and the sewage, and there is no inlet and outlet. That is what you're witnessing. So this is a complete collapse of the infrastructure. It's a total mess, from not even being given a basic infrastructure necessity, especially to these citizens. You also have IT companies, especially where it has reported flooding. You have techies taking tractors to reach their offices as well.
All right, Shrija, you do be careful there. Thanks so much for joining us there with the very latest of this morning as well. Even if it's not raining, Bengaluru waking up to these clogged, flooded streets. And these streets are basically on the connecting the IT. These are the IT corridors and the roads that, connect parts of the city and on the outer parts of the city as well. There you can see, and this is the second time that these roads are flooded. And as you can imagine, a nightmare for commuters. In other news and political news now, Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, who came to Delhi with the longest to-do list for his mission opposition unity rather, checked off the first item yesterday evening. He met with Congress leader Rahul Gandhi at his Tughlaq Road residence. Sources said the discussion was entirely on 2024 and the means to unite the opposition, at the end of which Nitish again told reporters that he has no ambition for the top post, while Nitish had said that he wishes to meet the leaders of his new Mahagathbandhan alliance in Delhi. He's also declared that the visit is meant to bring all opposition leaders under one umbrella, a task seen as a significant challenge. He may meet Delhi Chief Minister today. Well, let's go across to Sunil Prabhu now for more. And Sunil, quite a task for Nitish Kumar because, the opposition we've seen is quite divided currently. But tell us more about his plans today.
Well, Gargi, as you rightly pointed out, he himself has said that he's not got any ambitions to become the Prime Minister. But when you say something like that so openly, it's quite clear you have to read between the lines that is definitely one among his many tasks that he definitely aspires to become the Prime Minister of this country. The big question, of course, is will he be able to get opposition unity, as you ask? That has always been a mirage. It has been a mirage in terms of opposition unity because there have always internal contradictions between various opposition parties, be it the AAP vis-a-vis the Congress or the left parties vis-a-vis the Congress party, and like that regional parties vis-a-vis national parties. It's in that backdrop that Mr. Nitish Kumar has been able to form the alliance in Bihar, and he's thanking most of those political parties who have joined, looking and exploring the possibility. The big question is for 2024, can there be a pre-poll alliance? In some states, yes, it will have to be state-specific. And then, of course, much will depend on how the Congress is able to pull up its socks in the next few days. Later this month, we will know who will be contesting for the post of the President of the Congress, whether it will be Rahul Gandhi or it will be anybody else. And it's in that backdrop that the Congress will have to be able to answer those questions, because initial days, but definitely the attempt is to forge and get opposition unity.
All right, Sunil, thanks so much for joining us with those details. So Nitish Kumar currently in the national capital. The Tamil Nadu government on Monday launched a 1,000 rupee per month assistance scheme for girl students pursuing college education and the Schools of Excellence and Model School scheme based on Delhi schools. Now, launching the school scheme here in the presence of his Tamil Nadu counterpart, M.K. Stalin, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal said states should learn from one another on good practices transcending party politics. Stalin praised the Delhi Chief Minister as a fighter.
Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal in Chennai to launch 40 schools of excellence and model schools in Tamil Nadu, taking the AAP-DMK relationship beyond the politics of opposition unity against the BJP. With Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin literally endorsing Delhi's model schools that he visited in March this year as impressive and worth emulating.
It should be the right of each child born in this country, whether rich or poor. It is the right of each child to get good education and free education in our country.
The Tamil Nadu government also launched the scheme to give 1,000 rupees monthly assistance to college girls who had studied in government schools.
கல்லூரிக்கு நுழைகிறார்கள். இதன் மூலமாக தமிழ்நாட்டினுடைய கல்வி வளர்ச்சி அதிகமாகும். படித்தவர் எண்ணிக்கை அதிகமாகும். அறிவுத்திறன் கூடும். திறமைசாலிகள் அதிகமாக உருவாகுவார்கள். பெண்கள் அதிகாரம் பெறுவார்கள். ஒவ்வொரு பெண்ணும் சொந்த காலில் நிற்பார்கள். யாருடைய தயவையும் அவர்கள் எதிர்பார்க்க மாட்டார்கள். எதிர்பார்க்க வேண்டாம். எந்த கொடுமையும் இழிவையும் அவர்கள் சகித்துக் கொண்டு
Shobana, an auto driver's daughter aspiring to become an IAS officer, hopes the money will reduce the financial burden on her dad. What's more, she hopes to learn dancing, her long-time dream.
Use this money to buy goods, stationery items, to study extra courses like typewriting class, computer science, and also I love to dance. So this money very helpful to me to join dance classes, singing classes.
इसका मतलब वो मेरा दोस्त नहीं है.
AAP has campaigned big on quality education in government schools in Gujarat too. That saw Union Home Minister Amit Shah launch 4 smart schools in the poll-bound state over the weekend. The DMK has not fulfilled its poll promise of the 1,000 rupee monthly allowance to women heads of families, but hopes this allowance to girl students will pay political dividends, even as the AAP DMK Bonomi has triggered fresh speculation of a new political partnership. In Chennai with Suresh, Sam Daniel, for NDTV.
Welcome back. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina will be holding talks with Prime Minister Modi today morning in the Hyderabad House. Now, this visit comes a year after the Prime Minister had visited Bangladesh last year for the 50th anniversary of Bangladesh independence. Bangladesh is an important partner for India under our neighborhood first policy. However, the two countries face some differences over NRC, Assam and CAA in 2019. So, what's the significance of this visit? NDTV's Maha Siddiqui has the details.
Sheikh Hasina has called India a tested friend, but she too has been one for India, especially in tackling and reining in extremism in India's neighboring country, an effort India recognizes as well. But what's more that the two countries can do? On the trade and investment front, the two sides could be looking at signing CEPA, which is the Comprehensive Economic Partnership deal. This largely for India to limit China's sphere of influence. The talks on CEPA began informally in 2018 against the backdrop of increasing Chinese investment in Bangladesh. Bangladesh is now India's biggest trade partner in South Asia. Bilateral trade has doubled from $9 billion to $18 billion in the last 5 years. Next comes connectivity. That's been enhanced over the last few years as well with a sharp focus. Now we have the Maitri Setu Bridge over River Feni in Tripura, the Chilahati-Haldibadi rail link. 5 out of 6 pre-1965 cross-border rail links are now operational. The Mithali Express from New Jalpaiguri to Dhaka was inaugurated in June this year, and 3 trial runs for the use of Chattogram and Mangola port for the movement of goods to and fro are underway as well. Medical tourism remains vital for India too. Out of 2.8 lakh visas that were issued by India in 2021, 2.3 lakhs were for medical treatment. And now two contentious issues, the Rohingya issue as well as something that Bangladesh is also tackling. At the moment, Bangladesh has 9 lakh Rohingya refugees and India has 40,000 approximately. Their safe repatriation to Myanmar is something that both sides have been asking for. Sheikh Hasina says India should play a major role. As for the sharing of Teesta River water, that deal has been in limbo since 2011 due to objections from the West Bengal government. Sheikh Hasina wants India to be more generous.
Welcome back. UK Foreign Secretary Liz Truss defeated Indian origin former Chancellor Rishi Sunak to be named winner of the Conservative Party leadership contest on Monday, and she will now go on to formally take charge as a British Prime Minister and Boris Johnson's successor. The 47-year-old senior cabinet minister was widely expected to clinch the ballot of an estimated 160,000 online and postal votes cast by Tory members, ending Sunak's historic run as the first member of Parliament of Indian heritage to compete for the top job at 10 Downing Street. Truss is the third female Prime Minister in Britain after Margaret Thatcher and Theresa May.
It's an honour to be elected as leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party. I'd like to thank the 1922 committee, the party chairman and the Conservative Party for organising one of the longest job interviews in history. Thank you very much.
Although Rishi Sunak trailed by about 20,000 votes, Liz Truss has made it to the Prime Minister's position. She won with a vote share of 57.4%, and on Tuesday, Liz Truss will be travelling to Scotland to meet with the Queen and to officially take charge. With me is Lord Karan Villamoria, who is a crossbencher. Karan, you've been always vocal about the importance of having someone very proactive and nipping issues in the bud. But we are at an unprecedented type of crisis here in Britain with the cost of living crisis, and now Liz has taken over. Not a surprise, but again, a lot of people I met on ground haven't been very happy. Your reaction?
I have known both Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak for many years. I like both of them. I know them both well. I get on very, very well with them. I've worked with them as president of the Confederation of British Industry. We now have a Prime Minister. That's the most important thing, because we've had 2 months of a status quo, of a state of limbo, where urgent help is needed for our economy, for our businesses, for our citizens, where we are facing an energy crisis, where businesses have got 500% increase in energy costs, where consumers are being squeezed. Inflation is rampant. We're staring at a possible recession. We need action now. Now that we have a Prime Minister, we're going to get that action from tomorrow, and that is desperately needed. So to that extent, I'm very relieved. And I also like Liz Truss's policies, which resonate with mine, where I've been saying since February 2021 to Rishi Sunak when he was Chancellor, don't put taxes up, just like India has not put taxes up, because the Indian government said, you put up taxes that will stifle the recovery and it will hamper growth. I said that time and again. And I also said, create investment, create growth. Liz Truss is saying those very things, which is music to my ears. She delivers on those and helps now businesses and citizens. Then that's desperately needed.
Sure. Focus on businesses, focus on citizens, the issues that we are reeling under. Would Rishi have by any chance been a better Prime Minister vis-a-vis where numbers are concerned? And could one of the reasons be for the fact that he didn't make it, that he has an Asian origin?
They are both very capable individuals. Liz Truss is hugely experienced. I've worked with her since she was head of the Department for Agriculture, and I was made a food champion for the UK during the Milan Expo. And I've worked with her when she was Minister of Trade and Industry, with all the trade deals, including the India free trade deal now that we're working on. Started the work on that was when Liz Truss was head of that department. And as Foreign Secretary, I've been to India with her just now with a meeting with Minister Jaishankar. So she's very pro-India, and of course Rishi's pro-India. Now the fact that Rishi didn't make it this time, he's hugely capable and admired and respected, not just by me, but by lots of people. The fact that he didn't make it has got nothing to do with the fact that he's Asian or the fact that he's Indian.
Okay.
If you look at the polls just earlier this year, if you look at January, just go back to January,
yes.
The polls of the British public, the polls of members of Parliament, the polls of the Conservative Party, the polls of Conservative MPs, Rishi Sunak was #1 favourite to replace Boris Johnson by miles.
Yes.
So that has now changed. But if he was in that position, it's got nothing to do with race or racism at all. This country, I do believe, we will see an Asian, an Indian as Prime Minister in my lifetime.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Karan Villamoria there. Seems hopeful that Liz Truss will deliver some good governance, having accompanied her on various business trips, having been with her whilst in office at various other portfolios, including her recent one, and she is currently the Foreign Secretary, and now of course she will be the Prime Minister of Britain. Radhika Iyer from London, NDTV.
News now from the northeast, where there's been a fresh flow of Myanmar's refugees in Mizoram since the 1st of September, officials said, amid reports of airstrikes near the India-Myanmar border by the security forces in Myanmar. The firing resulted in the continuous movement of villagers from Warang into Mizoram. Well, let's go across to Ratnadeep for more. And Ratnadeep, give us more details of this.
Well, what we're picking up from our sources in Mizoram, particularly a few of the official sources who would not like to be, named, they have confirmed us that there has been an increase in the movement of refugees, Myanmarese refugees from the other side of the border since September 1. This is happening in basically Langklai district of Mizoram, which already has over 5,000 refugees. Remember, since the Myanmar coup last year, there have been a steady inflow of refugees from Myanmar into Mizoram. Thousands of them are there already. A few hundred have been given refugee cards as well. But what is important in this case is that now for the past 1 week or so, particularly in the Rakhine state of Myanmar, there has been fierce fight between the Myanmarese military and the ethnic armed rebel group, the Arakan army. And Arakan, in some places, Arakan army has been attacking the Myanmarese army bases. On the other hand, the Myanmarese army is also launched an offensive to break the resistance of the Arakan army. And in this fight, in several border areas on the Indo-Myanmar border, in Rakhine and Chin state, as well as in Myanmar-Bangladesh border, there have been, use of airstrikes, like use of fighter jets as well as helicopters, as reported in the Myanmarese media as well. And it seems that in this case, there was an similar type of fight which is going on, and close to the Indo-Myanmar border in Mizoram, bombs were dropped from aircraft. That's what even the locals in the Mizoram side of the border have reported, and therefore the villages which are on the Myanmarese side, people are evacuating from these villages, and they're entering Mizoram, and there is an increase in the number of refugees who are coming into India through Indo-Myanmar border in Mizoram.
All right, Ratnadeep, thanks so much for joining us with those details. So refugees from Myanmar, they're coming into India. International news now, news from Canada. One of the suspects in the stabbing deaths of 10 people in the Canadian province of Saskatchewan was found dead, in fact, and his injuries are not self-inflicted, is what the police say, as they continued the search for the second suspect. Damien Sanderson, who was 31 years old, was found dead near the stabbing sites, and the police say that they believe his brother, Miles Sanderson, who's 30, is injured and on the run, and likely in the provincial capital of Regina. It was the first time police have identified the two as brothers. His body was located outdoors in a heavily grassed area in proximity to a house that was being examined, and we can confirm he has visible injuries. These injuries are not believed to be self-inflicted, is what the police said.
At 11:30 a.m., a deceased male was located on the James Smith Cree Nation. At 1:17 p.m. today, it was confirmed by Saskatchewan RCMP Forensic Investigation Section that the deceased is Damien Sanderson. His body was located outdoors in a heavily grassed area in proximity to a house that was being examined. We can confirm he has visible injuries. These injuries are not believed to be self-inflicted at this point. The exact cause of death will be determined in conjunction with the Saskatchewan Coroner's Office, with the date and time for that examination to be determined.
Yesterday's attacks in Saskatchewan are shocking and heartbreaking. My thoughts and the thoughts of all Canadians are with those who've lost loved ones and with those who are injured. This kind of violence, or any kind of violence, has no place in our country. We're still, of course, monitoring the situation closely, and we urge everyone to follow all the updates from the authorities. Priority is keeping you and your loved ones safe, so please be careful. If you see anything, if you have any information, please call 911 to share that.
The Israeli army has finally said that there was a high possibility that a soldier killed a well-known Al Jazeera journalist in the occupied West Bank last May, as it announced the result of its investigation into the killing. In a briefing to reporters, a senior military official said a soldier opened fire after mistakenly identifying Shireen Abu Akleh as a militant. Now, the killing had led to international outrage. A court in Moscow found a former journalist guilty of treason and sentenced him to 22 years of maximum security prison, concluding a trial that has been widely seen as politically motivated. The sentence handed to Ivan Safranov is among the harshest moves against Russian independent journalists and Kremlin critics who have faced mounting pressure in recent years. Safranov worked as a defense and space reporter for the Kommersant newspaper for a decade before becoming an advisor to the head of the Russian space corporation, Roscosmos. Safranov was accused of passing military secrets to the Czech intelligence and information about the Russian military to a German national.
Mr. Sattelwad, for speaking to us. This is the first time that we're actually speaking to you since the time when you were arrested and since you were released. And so I'd like to start from that day in June when the ATS landed up at your house. Did you have any indication that this was coming? Because you had that Supreme Court order just a few days earlier in the Zakia Jafri case, which said that, you know, petitioners have sort of had doubtful intentions, and there was a kind of premonition. Did you have a premonition at all?
No, unfortunately, there was no such premonition because one on the reading of the Supreme Court order, one expected due process of law. But Srinivas, I would like to really speak about the conditions in jail for women and children, the facilities available or not available, because I think that's a real issue that citizens and civil society need to look at. Because, you know, institutionalization of under trials and convicted prisoners is something we don't turn our eyes often enough to. And if we could do that, I think it would make a huge difference to the lives of so many people.
Yeah. We'll absolutely do that, because I understand also that you might have some, you know, sort of limitations in terms of being able to talk about the case. So I'm not getting into the case here, but I just want to understand it more from the point of your experience of what happened when the police, you know, from the time when the police landed up.
No, I mean, frankly speaking, frankly, one expected due process, a notice if necessary, a notice, etc., to be given, etc., not the kind of crackdown as it happened.
Okay. But you also actually said that there was some kind of roughing up or manhandling?
You see, that's all now a subject matter of a court inquiry in Ahmedabad. So, again, that's sub judice. So, I'll be giving my evidence there where I'm a complainant. So, I'd really like to speak about that in the court.
And tell us now, because you were what, in jail for almost 70 days, this entire
period?
Actually,
63 days in jail, 7 days in police remand. 7 days police remand and 63 days in jail.
Okay. Tista, just not to get into the specifics of the case, but tell us about that experience, I mean, both with the police custody and then subsequently in jail.
You see, I was a bit concerned, and as were my lawyers, about security and other things. And I saw that my security lay in living as an ordinary woman under trial, and I was put into the women's barrack number 6 with women and children and other pregnant women and some other younger women, and I think I felt instinctively that my security lay where there were other women around. I mean, life in jail is never easy. You're constricted. There's a 6 a.m. to 12 noon window when you can be out of the barrack, and then again from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. And after 6 p.m. you're inside, and on a Sunday it's 4 p.m. you're inside. So it's tough. What I found toughest was not having enough areas of silence.
Right. Did you experience any hostility at all in the jail? Because I mean, this is in Gujarat. So was there any of that?
Yeah. So I mean, I was fearful of that. I was a little concerned about that. But honestly speaking, like I said on Saturday when I came out, the matrons and the subedar and the women's staff were very, very decent and very quite nice actually.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't really find any specific problems there. Really, I didn't.
That's good to hear. What about your stint in police custody though? What was that like?
Actually, that was very strange because I was at the crime branch and after being whisked away on the 25th, one landed there in the morning of the 26th, which was a Sunday, and then by evening the magistrate had given remand of 4 to 5 days. They had asked for 14 days. And right from that Sunday evening to the next Saturday, when I was sent to judicial custody, which is like almost 6 days or whatever, I was not called for questioning except once, which was from 11 p.m. to 2:30 a.m., just 3 hours. And the rest of the time I was just sitting around.
You were just called for questioning only once?
Yeah, only once.
That's extremely surprising because like you said, you were there for almost close to like, what was it? 5 to 6
days.
6 days.
Yeah. Six. I mean, 5 to 6 days if you count of Sunday to Saturday. Yeah.
I see. And any explanation given as to why? Because
no
explanation. Okay, but Lisa, coming to the wider question of your arrest, which of course, in several quarters was seen as a sign of an attempt to once again target civil society, to once again target voices that may have been seen as critical of the establishment, with of course the counter coming, and again we're not getting into the specifics of the case per se, with the counter coming that this is not, conventional activism, this is motivated, this is, got political, dimensions to it.
See, I'll just repeat here the July 11th judgment of the Supreme Court, which came out while I was in jail. I read about it through the newspapers. I used to get 2 newspapers a day and also read some of the Gujarati papers that some of the fellow under trials got, because I can read Gujarati, it's my mother tongue. And that 2-judge bench of the Supreme Court on July 11th passed a very strong judgment on what bail norms should be in this country. And I would just like to reiterate that, because I was also in jail in a period, Srinivasan, which is a post-COVID period, So I have seen a fellow under trials, some of them who became friends, who have been there for 2.5 years, 4 years, 8 years. And the COVID period has just made it worse because the access to justice was not considered an essential commodity. So the courts were shut, the bail courts were shut. So, one really needs our country to realize that personal freedom is important, and, incarceration cannot be the norm. I mean, I had women coming in and out, we had women coming in and out of our barracks, come in one night because of daru ke dhanda ka hai ya jhagde ke hai. In 2 days they are out, in 3 days they are out. Others who are there for some PASA, somebody is there for Gakoka, somebody is there for NDPS, somebody is there for murder. I can understand some of the charges are serious.
Right.
But what the Supreme Court says about the bail hearing should happen within 2 to 3 weeks in the Sessions Court, then in the High Court, and then, it needs to be taken very seriously.
Okay, but of course, those are important questions that, one should turn one lens on. But coming back to what I was saying, that this idea that, that your arrest and is part of the wider sort of pattern of crackdown on activists, with, as I said, the counter being that this isn't conventional activism, there's a kind of political dimension to it. To that, what would you say? Again, talking in a general sense.
You have to, I got it. I want to just say that we have a set of laws in this country. We have a set of laws, IPC laws, other laws in this country. And those laws need to be applied with some degree of honesty, and with some degree of impartiality and autonomy by the police, And I think the whole issue of the police not becoming an arm of the executive is the question here. I mean, look what happened with Mohammed Zubair, for instance. You know, while I was inside jail, then he gets bail. There are so many other examples. There are so many other examples of this kind of quote-unquote crackdown happening. And I think it's quite worrying, actually, because if you have a situation where the police becomes used to and gets away with this kind of without due process arrest and raid, it can actually be a threat to anybody tomorrow. And, you know?
And to the
it could be a businessman, it could be anybody. It might start with activists, but it can then be extended to anybody.
Okay, but to the allegation of motivated activism, you would say what?
No, I would, like I said, I can't speak about my case, but
no, in a general sense,
myself in court and my organization. No, I think I mean, we have a constitution in force in this country where the whole issue of fundamental rights, social justice, directive principles is something that you can, go to court on.
Okay.
You know, and if there is a feeling by a set of people, whether it is citizenship law or any other thing, where they feel that they are being discriminated by the state,
right?
Then the Constitution gives us the right of justiciability to go to court, you know.
Okay.
That right cannot be taken away from individuals.
Okay, fair enough. Just last question before I let you go. This is still what is called interim bail. There are stipulations on it.
That's right.
Is this going to circumscribe your work or your activism?
I mean, I don't think so, because I mean, as far as this case is concerned, it's being fought in the courts.
Right.
As far as the other work that my organization continues to do, whether it's on citizenship in Assam, whether it's on hate crimes, whether it's on constitutional education, principles in education, hopefully will just continue. We have a wonderful team out there. In the last 70 days, the work did not stop.
Right.
It cannot depend on one individual alone. We have been team building assiduously for the last 10 or 12 years.
Right.
And there are grassroots workers from the different regions where we are working. And I just hope that it will not stop. And it has not so far stopped.
Oh, all right. Okay. Tisa Setalvad, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Just one thing, if you don't mind,
Yes.
Vasu, I just wanted to mention. Can I just say that, you know, I spent the 75th year of our independent Amrit Mahotsav, we spent in jail this year. And all of us women under trials were really looking forward to some sort of celebration in the jail. But the women's jail at Sabarmati had nothing on 15th August, and that upset us deeply.
Okay. All right. Noted. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.